Hello, hello. As you can probably tell from the channel, I took a little hiatus, little breaky break during the summer. Honestly, I was just spending time with family and friends, living life, and I kind of just didn't have time to film YouTube, and I also just wasn't sure what I wanted to film. I'm still kind of there. Some of y'all's suggestions are just nothing I would actually do for YouTube. I like to keep this YouTube very clean, very everyday, day-to-day stuff. So some of those outlandish see-through try-on hauls, stop asking me. Like, I'm to the point where if you ask me to do one, I will just block you because it's really obnoxious. Let's just be real. And if you want to see that, you can go to the VIP page. All of my official stuff is at myavaAddams.com. The socials are at the bottom. Once again, if you think you're talking to me anywhere but what's listed on there, it's not me. It's a scammer. I don't know what else to say. This keeps popping up, but here we are again. So I had a great summer, took some trips. I had every intention of like doing food blogs and doing adventure blogs while I was in Hawaii. And honestly, most of the videos had like family and friends in it, and I just don't want to share that with y'all because it's personal and I'm just not ready to, I just don't want to subject my friends and family to that because of the not so chill people. Most of you I adore and y'all are so respectful and awesome, but then there's the rest. So that is why I never show my family and friends. People are like, oh, did you vacation alone? I'm like, yes, I vacation. No, I don't. I honestly can't even remember the last time I took an alone vacation. Maybe I should. That might be good for me, but I haven't done that. I'm always with friends and family or just friends. So I'm not alone. I just don't showcase that to y'all because people are nuts. If we're going to be great, if we're going to be legit 100% real, that's why. But I had an amazing time in Hawaii. If you want to catch a glimpse of what I did talk about it on my TikTok and on my Instagram. There's some pictures and videos. I might post some more. Some of the highlights. Let me see. I can tell you about some of the highlights. So we first started in Maui. We only did 2 islands. We did Maui and Oahu, Honolulu. I wish we had time to go to the Big Island and a couple more, but we just didn't, and I didn't want to feel rushed. So we started Maui. We stayed at the Four Seasons Maui, which if you don't know, that's where they filmed White Lotus season 1. So thank God there was no murders. There was no jewelry robbed while we were there. It was not scandalous. It was very chill, very low key. I had heard that the service was exceptional at that Four Seasons, and it really was. Minus our last night. So our last night, we decided to go to Spago, which I should have known better because I feel like Spago is kind of like downgraded and it's kind of overrated in my book, but that one sucked. Like the service was horrendous. It was just bad. We waited like 30 minutes to get waters. And then they brought sparkling water instead of still water. And then they brought our entrees at the same time as our appetizers. And we were like, we don't want them at the same time. So then they just basically put our fish under a heat lamp. And when they brought it back, it was chewy, rubbery, and it was just not a good experience. And we, obviously I did mention it to the concierge and they're like, well, it's in the hotel, but it's not us. They like rent out the space and it's not affiliated. I'm like, I get it, but it gives you a bad name. I'm like, you can't tell me that you haven't had complaints before. And the guy next to the lady just kind of looked and smiled and she goes, well, not tonight. So that was all I needed to know. Basically, they get complaints about that place all the time. Other than that, it was amazing. The actual staff there was great. It's a beautiful hotel. Our room was very spacious. I loved it. I would go back in a heartbeat. We went horseback riding over there at a place called Triple Ranch. It was so much fun. It was so fun. Any chance I get to go horseback riding, I'm gonna do it. And we did their Saturday trail, which is the only trail where they do a lunch. And you get a burger, which is actually from their cattle ranch. So I'm sorry if you're vegan, vegetarian, and that grosses you out, but can't get any fresher than that. We went, well, Everyone else but me went ziplining because I'm terrified of heights. I paid for it, I got in the harness, I got up, started walking up the stairs, and I was like, I can't do this, I can't do this. So I chickened out once again. I did not go ziplining because I'm a wuss. I'm not even gonna pretend I'm not. But we got to do a lot of really cool stuff, driving, visiting places, ate banana bread off the side of the road, which is the best way to get it. It's so good. Got a big fresh coconut, fresh fruit, lots of fish. Food trucks over there are amazing. I was doing white macadamia nut espressos like every day, so good. Yeah, we had a great time. But all the other Four Seasons, also, we dined at all the other Four Seasons restaurants, Ferrero's, those were all amazing. So that was the gist of Maui, and then we went over to Oahu. I will have to say that Honolulu is not for me. We did stay on the Ko'olina side, which is the quiet side with the golf course, and it was pretty. And I'm glad we were on that side because the Honolulu side, honestly, for me, it was a shit show. You couldn't pay me to stay on that side. So crowded, so not for me. We went over there one day and I was like, I don't even want to be here. I don't know why people went, maybe during the off season, but not in the summer. You couldn't pay me to stay on that side, honestly. And I'm sure there's lots of cool stuff that we didn't get to see, but you couldn't even park. You couldn't even get to things. We even tried to go to places to eat at 1 or 2 during the off hours, and you still couldn't get in there. It was a shit show. So we didn't go. But the Ko'olina side, we did a half stay. So we did half at the Four Seasons, half at Disney Alani, and I was so excited to stay there. And honestly, besides the characters and the resort itself, it is awful. Awful, awful, awful. People are maniacs when it comes to the pool chairs. You literally have to go down there between 7 and 8 a.m. to reserve your chair and sit on it until it opens, or they will move your stuff. Or you have to scramble to try to get a cabana down there at 7:30 a.m. or a casita, whatever it is, so that you don't have to deal with this pool situation. If you're not at your chair every hour, they just take your stuff and move it. Sounds great for people that just hoard chairs, but I mean, what if you're an hour and 15 minutes? Life happens, whatever. And then I was in line waiting for a cabana one day, and this lady's this guy literally tried to fight me for my pool chairs. I'm needless to say, one day we rented a cabana, one day we did a casita, another day we were at Koala Valley Ranch, the Jurassic Ranch, so we didn't have to deal with it, but I would never go back. The only cool thing was meeting rare characters. The character breakfast was the worst character breakfast I've ever been to. The food wasn't that great. The rooms are kind of tiny, they're not that nice. The resort itself is pretty. We didn't do the luau over there. We went to a different one that was amazing. The Mocha Warriors, that one was amazing. Highly recommend it. Fun show, cool show, amazing food. But the Disney resort, Alani, thumbs down. And y'all know I'm a Disney girl, but no. If it weren't for the characters, I think I would have left right away. Honestly, I would have been hey, Four Seasons, do you have any more? And the irony is the Four Seasons is literally right next door. They share a beach, but the minute you walk over to the Four Seasons side, it's zen. It's chaos zen. Right next door to each other. It's insane. I did enjoy that Four Seasons, but not as much as the one in Maui. I have to say the one in Maui trumps the one in Oahu in my opinion, but to each their own. Oahu, now what did we do? We went to a lot of the botanical gardens, we went to the temples, we were gonna go swimming in waterfalls, but we got there, and we're Texans, it was cold, way too cold for us, and also it's a bunch of people in this little crowded area. You literally had to wait in line to get life jackets, and we were yeah, no, we're not doing this. But we did go to Koala Valley Ranch, and we did the movie tour, so they show you all the movies they filmed there, and if you don't know about it, look it up. It's insane. So many movies have been filmed there since like Dolly Parton back in the 70s. to like obviously Jurassic and like Jumanji and all these other movies that you know. It's really cool, and it's like some of the places before they even tell you, you're like, oh my God, there's Jurassic Valley. Like, you know, if you know, you know. So that was cool. And then we did the ATVs over there, and that was a blast. Highly recommend. Highly, highly recommend. We were supposed to go snorkeling, but honestly, at that point, I was so tired and so over the Disney resort that I paid for a cabana and just sat on my ass and did nothing that day because I was exhausted. So I did not get to go snorkeling, but I heard that Maui is better for snorkeling anyways, so yeah. So that sums up Hawaii. The worst part of that trip was that I was up at 2 or 3 in the morning every day because my body just could not adjust to the time change. And when I finally adjusted, 2 days before we were supposed to leave, we came back here. And then I was all messed up when I came back to Houston, and it took me a good 2 weeks to like adjust again. So for like a whole month, my like internal clock was just messed up, and I was like waking up and going to bed at like off times. But all in all, it was a great trip. It sucks that we don't have direct flights to Maui because I would definitely go back to Maui, but we only have direct flights to Honolulu, but it's a pretty quick trip once you get there because I would definitely go back to Maui. Honolulu, not so sure. Not so sure, honestly. I just don't know if it's for me. I think my problem is it's almost a little too laid back for me. And I don't know how to sit back and relax for too long. I have to have something happening all the time. So that was my thing with Hawaii. And it is expensive. Like some of these people were telling us they had to have 2 or 3 jobs just to survive. It is a beautiful place. I'll give it that. So yeah. So I think my next trip is probably going to be Disney because after being at Alani, I was like literally like, oh my God, I miss Disney so much. So I got to plan it. So I planned a Disney trip. A real Disney. But I had a great summer, but I will say I'm excited to be back here, back with y'all, back to my schedule, back to filming. After this video, I've got some cooking stuff, try-on hauls, and then I'm thinking about doing some like more food where I order a bunch of food and tell you which ones are my favorite. Let me know if you'd like to see like how I meal prep, a day in the life, what kind of videos that you want from me that are YouTube friendly. If you give me an option that's not YouTube friendly, you will be blocked. That's all. That's all. The rest of you, I love you. Bye.